Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Papa Joe for this week's edition of the Melon Shop Vlog. This week we have our good friend Jacob, aka Phobia the Prophet.
What up, y'all?
Go ahead and give us a quick intro.
Guys, I'm Phobia the Prophet, coming straight from El Paso, Texas, 915, represent my east side of El Paso. That's I don't know what kind of intro to give. I'm bad at that.
Cool. Yeah, and I remember the first time we saw you, it was actually at the spot, and it was a birthday show for Lexi, our friend Lexi, and you were actually performing with an acoustic band, right?
Yeah, Abstract was the name of that.
That's right. That's what it's called, Abstract. Yeah. I remember you were getting down and singing to the birthday girl like all up in her face.
Yeah, man, I had to. I remember those badass pictures you took too. It was like the first time I'd ever seen myself look so good. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and that was a fun show. And then so you made a switch from acoustic to
To hip hop.
hip hop.
No, I actually I've been doing hip hop since like a long time ago when I was a kid. It started with me just writing back in middle school. And before that, I was into hip hop music, and I always wanted to be in a band because I wanted like that brotherhood, like that love, like that you share with people when you go on the road and stuff like that. And so I'd always been around the scene for a while, and I made friends with local bands, and eventually I had my chance, but it just never really worked out any time that I tried it.
Yeah. So and as far as your personal music history, were you ever in any kind of like formal training or music classes or anything?
No, my older brother played guitar, so that's how I picked up guitar because of him. When it came to singing, I just learned from other friends that are good singers, and I realized I'm not that good of a singer, so I decided to stick with what I know with hip hop.
Cool. So what do you think are what are some of your influences? Like maybe like when you were growing up and up to now.
It started, I guess, with my father. My father showed me hip hop music at a young age, and I was inspired first by Ice Cube. I was like really into that gangster rap shit just because it was hard, and he didn't take anything from anyone, and he was just about himself. It wasn't so much about what other people wanted him to be, and he stood up for everything he believed in. And as I got older, I started developing my own taste. Now I'm really huge into like Slug from Atmosphere. He's one of my biggest inspirations, and it's crazy because now I've even been inspired by local hip hop artists here too. Have made a huge impact on my life, and
Nice. Like who?
like Rebel Agnostic. He's the MC from Riboflavin. My homie Ralph the Ruckus from Space Captains Collective. All the dudes from Space Captains, they're all huge inspirations to me. My friend Tezu, he was one of the first, most understanding people that I met here in El Paso, and just a couple of other people that I know.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Mach One?
I've heard the name, but I've never been introduced
Yes, you have.
properly. Have I?
Yeah, we had a second vlog with Tezu, I guess it was like in December of last year, and I was like blown away to learn that Tezu is Mach One.
Oh man, see, I didn't know
I didn't either, dude.
that.
And we're over here like I'm so well informed about our guests, and then he shows up and he's talking about his music and his beats. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who makes them for you? I know it's Mach One. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, so when are you gonna bring Mach One onto the vlog with you? And he says, well, he's here. It's me.
It's me. Yeah, so he never told me that because even when I had met him, we hung out at his place one time before Las Cruces show that he had, and he was asking me about that. Like he told me that he makes beats and stuff like that, but he never told me he went by some other name. So this whole time I'm just like, oh, Tezu, Tezu, Tezu. But
Yeah, there's Tezu, the performer, the artist, and like he's almost like an entrepreneur. And
yeah,
his
man,
own little
he
group.
he goes heavy with
Yeah.
what he does. I have nothing but respect for the guy.
And then he's his other persona is Mach One, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool because he does some crazy beats, man. And, okay, so you kind of touched on the fact that you're a hip hop artist, but give us a description in your own words about your sound. Like if somebody's never heard you perform before or your music, what would you say? How would you describe your sound to them?
That's always been a hard question for me to answer to people. Mainly because my first influence was gangster rap music, but I don't really make gangster rap music. I like to think it's more just real, like real shit. It's things that people go through on an everyday mental process, what like things they think about. As far as I guess I try to reflect on people that have like depression issues, the struggle, just that real life stuff. Other than that, it's I'm trying to dip my toes into more not so sad music, is what my family calls it. You know, they're like, "Do you ever make songs that aren't sad?" I'm like, "Well, you live a sad life, and sometimes that's the only thing you know about." And I feel now that I've made progress in my career here locally with my music, I'm starting to touch base on things like that because I'm getting better and bigger experiences and things to talk about that are more positive. But my music isn't sad at the sense of I want people to be sad while they're hearing it or hurt themselves or something like that. It's more the sense that I want you to accept that it's okay to feel those things
Yeah,
and understand that you're not alone in that feeling.
exactly. That's a big one right there. I mean, everybody goes through stuff, but just to know that somebody else has felt what you're going through, or maybe you're going through at that moment, it can help somebody. You never know, somebody
Yeah,
that could
exactly.
just be at your show, hanging out with friends, and like, damn, he gets it.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it started for me because I started playing these shows, and I went in like a bat out of hell, man. I was just like, I'm gonna do it because I believe in it, and I feel like something needs to change. Like, there's so many people, especially now, man. Just suicide is becoming so much bigger than it. Well, I'm not gonna say that it has been because it's been big, but it's becoming to be more put on a map where people are recognizing it, and everybody wants to make a difference, but people are making differences, and sometimes it feels like it's just they're doing it for themselves, not so much for the other person. And when I started playing shows, it was people asked me like, why would you, or what do you prefer, playing a show to a bigger crowd or playing a show to a small crowd and stuff like that. And for me, it's never really mattered the size of the audience because sometimes I can play a show to the same 10 people, consistently, but every now and then there's always that one person that may be at my show, and afterwards when I'm done, just the way they react and the stories I hear, um, they sound so grateful to be understood, that someone understands what they go through and the pain they feel. And that's
Yeah.
what makes it worth it for me, not so much just because I'm not trying to, I don't know, overplay it, I guess. I just want to
No,
help people.
I mean, we were there like when you first started, and that when you said you started like a bat out of hell, we were there. We witnessed quite a bit of it. But you're a work in progress. So of course your music and the themes of your music are going to evolve.
Yeah.
I honestly think that when I've seen you perform, you're honest. You're sincere with the crowd. Your music is about real life. So I mean, that's your take on it. Other people have their interpretation of it. You can't control what they think of it.
Exactly. And a part of me doesn't care what they think about
Exactly,
it.
man. It's your outlet. So either enjoy it or
Yeah, exactly. Like
or not.
I tell people all the time too, because I have like younger cats coming up to me now, which is like tripping me out, asking me for advice. I'm like, the only advice I can give you is like, if you want it, go get it, and don't worry if people like it or not. I mean, yeah, to an extent, you should. People are gonna like it or dislike it, but there's always gonna be people that dislike anything you do. You know.
Yeah. And you also touched on the subject of suicide, and and before, like, there was a time when I didn't really give too much attention to that topic. I did sympathize with people who have been touched by it in their lives, and it didn't really ring too much of a bell with me until we experienced it in my family. My older brother, he took his own life 2 years ago. None of us had a clue, excuse me, what he was going through.
Sorry about
I have no idea. We had no idea. It just took us completely by surprise. And now when I see people, and I see a lot of like kids playing with the whole subject of suicide and kill myself and end my life now, and oh shit, I woke up today, and stuff like that. The I see that stuff, and it does hurt because it always brings me back to the whole idea that my brother was going through something that I didn't know he was going through.
Yeah.
But I wish so bad that he would have talked to me about it. And and kids out there who are contemplating that or thinking about it or have ever had moments in their life when they thought they weren't worthy of life, find somebody and talk to them about it. Reach out to somebody, reach out to a friend, or there's a lot of hotlines.
Yeah,
Even
100%,
if
man.
it's a stranger, at least you can talk to somebody about it.
And sometimes it's easier too when it's a stranger, because I know a lot of people. Like my thing when I was growing up, when I myself like dealt with those thoughts, and when I was dealing with that, it was so much harder, and it kind of became harder when my family found out about it. And it was supposed to, that's what they tell you. Oh, it gets easier if you just talk to your family, but sometimes your family doesn't even understand, and they all say the same thing. Like, oh well, get over it, or it's not that bad, or it's gonna be okay. But it's like, but what's gonna be okay? So
Yeah.
sometimes it is easier to reach out to a stranger, someone you don't know, which is, like I said, why when I have these shows and I talk about what I talk about, when I have people I want them to be able to feel comfortable because I'm not exactly the most, nicest looking person, but I try not to be the most intimidating when it comes to a conversation with anyone, especially if they feel like they just need to reach out and talk, and that's all it is. Sometimes a conversation can save somebody's life, and you never know.
You never know. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I'm trying to be a lot more careful about it when I talk about it, and I don't like to make light of it either because it's not funny, dude. Like we could see the shit that my family go through, my parents go through now because of it. It's not it's not a pretty picture.
Yeah, it hurts.
It sucks. We're left to deal with all the aftermath. But I guess deep down inside, I just hope that my brother is happy now. He's at peace. At least he's at peace.
Yeah.
Okay, and moving on because I don't want to make this.
Okay, yeah.
Well, okay, just real quick. Who do you feel supports your music the most?
Man, that's an easy one. Sean and Megan Anders, my management / family, I guess. They've been supporting me since the day they've met me. They literally helped me transform myself from nothing to something, just based off of sheer love and support. And that's no disrespect to my blood family, because now they support what I do, but back then it was a little harder, which was my own fault too. But definitely, Sean has been there for me since I told him, man, my life is going in a direction, and I feel like I have no meaning for it right now. I'm just another dude doing another job with whatever, and I want to make a difference, and I'm gonna do it with my music. And he has never once told me that I couldn't.
Okay, so let's talk about your music.
Okay.
How many songs do you have, and typically how long is your set?
Oh man, I've got a lot of songs. I'm gonna say I've got about 9 recorded, and I'm about to have like 16 by February.
Nice. Who have you recorded with?
Well, before I had recorded with this indie label here in El Paso called Run Skills Music. It was a buddy of mine I used to work with when I was working at the restaurant, and he was recording me just out of his house, and that's how I got most of my songs out. And I also actually recorded at Star City Studios with David Mendoza. He's the one that recorded the song Apology for me with Sabrina James.
Oh, yeah.
And also a song I have called Wrong, and a couple other songs when I was in my old crew. And that's how I got most of my music out. It's just right now we had some conflicts come up with the label, so I decided to go my own way.
You did touch on some of the themes of your songs, and it's usually like stuff you're going through in life,
Right.
and things that could probably be helpful to somebody else who's there, and in the crowd, just randomly. So let's take apart one of your songs. I know that song "Pain,"
Okay.
and usually a lot of people really get into it at your shows and stuff. What is it about? Like, let's dissect it.
That song "Pain" is actually about suicide.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, back to that topic. I wrote that song. It was that exactly. Like, I was telling people, I wasn't trying to endorse it or like make it what would you call it, like glorify it and make it something like, oh, this is
Make it
cool.
something cool.
Yeah, no, I was trying to explain to people, I know you're not alone, because these are the thoughts that have gone through my head, and these are the things that I've thought about in that context, and it was everything as far as like giving time to people that don't care about you, or that say they care, or like they just want you for what you have and not so much of who you are, and
Like for convenience.
yeah,
or
exactly, and just kind of getting tired of all that. And it was just one last shot, for me. And I sat in my room, and I was just in a darker place at the time, and I sat there and I just wrote it, and it just came out. And yeah, I've been, my entire life up until about recently has been guided by that, nothing but hardships and pain, and I don't know, life just kicked my ass a lot when I was younger, and
it happens, dude. I mean, sometimes sometimes when you think that you're on top of the world, life comes back to kick you in the ass and bring you back down again. It happens, man.
And the world
Throughout
crumbles
life,
beneath you.
and you're a young guy. You're in your 20s.
I'm 23, yeah.
Dude, you haven't even. You're still young, man.
Yeah, that's what people tell me, man. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just crazy, because I do my best not to make it an excuse,
Yeah, no, don't let it hold
As
you
far
back.
as like, that's what I tell people. It's one of the most motivational things I ever heard in my life was I saw that movie Roll Bounce. I don't know if you've ever seen it. And in the movie, there's a scene where they're at the roller rink, and Nick Cannon, he works like the skates, like he rents out the skates or whatever. And Bow Wow's there, and he's watching this guy do a trick, and he keeps falling down over and over and over. And Nick Cannon tells him, man, that guy comes here every day and tries that trick 100 times, don't ever get it. And then Bow Wow's like, so why doesn't he just stop? You know, all that falling stuff, it's just not cool. And Nick Cannon tells him, well, if you don't fall, how do you know what getting up feels like? And as a kid, that just like, it hit me like in the head, you know, and I was like, huh. So every time life would start getting hard again, like, and I would go through like these episodes of depression taking over and stuff like that, I would remind myself of that. Like, you know, you're just falling again, but pick yourself back up, because sometimes at the end of the day, all you have is you to do that, you know? And support is always a good thing, but you can't always depend on somebody else to bring you back. You should always believe in yourself that you can do it, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that, dude. You know, and sometimes you're gonna get knocked down worse than other times, and it comes in waves. You know, throughout your life. Like I tell you, you feel like you're the king of the world, and boom, get your ass knocked on the ground again.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
But like I like to think about it as like, you know, when you work out and you, like, let's say you're lifting weights and your muscles break down, but when they recover, they're stronger.
Yeah.
And that's how I like to see, like, the shit that you go through. It makes you stronger, and I can attest to that, dude. Because like, and you know, and it's okay to feel good about yourself for the shit that you've overcome in life. You know,
You know, and I feel like that's the hardest part sometimes. Like for me personally, that's what I've barely started to grasp, because people keep telling me that, and I never understood what that meant.
just think about some of the stuff you've been through, that you've actually went through, and you got past them. You know, the obstacles in life, and all those are little like victories in your life. You know, I can tell you for sure, dude. Like 6 years ago, and I don't really talk about it much, but like 6 years ago, I was like at the lowest point in my life ever, man. And how I got out of it, I don't know. You know, just a lot of shit that I was going through, and it all happened at the same time. But as I was getting out of that episode of my life, because I took myself out of it, I met like all the friends that I have now. I started going to shows with my son. I met a lot of friends. Like I met Judy.
Yeah.
Like we were friends for a long time.
Behind the
I
scenes.
met her daughters. We were friends for a long time. Like a lot of the people that we see at shows now, they're people from back then who were there, who helped me get out of that hole.
Yeah.
And that's why I appreciate the music scene here so much, man. You know, there's certain parts of the music scene that I can honestly say that I appreciate the most, because I've surrounded myself with them. I go to their shows. I see them at shows.
They've made some of the biggest impact on me.
Yeah, and so when I see certain people, I'm like, damn, man, fucking memories, friends. There was a time when I would go to shows, and everybody who was at that show was a friend. And that's why I love doing those shows on Saturdays at Love Buzz, because that Saturday, when I'm there with all the people at shows, when Judy are sitting there and people are surrounding us, it feels like just back in the, you know, like it did back in the day.
Yeah, I remember those, man. That's what we talk about now. You know, we reminisce on that, especially because so many of us have come out that weren't in the scene back then. You know, but we were a part of the scene, just not part of the performance.
Right.
And now that we are, it's like we talk about it all the time. Like, man, I remember back in the day how this was. Like, you know, I remember being a kid, a teenager at these shows, and it was like the craziest time. It was like the escape, man. It was like, fuck everything that's going on. I can go to a show and have a good time with all my friends and just.
Yep. And that's why I think that's the reason why we just keep going to shows, because we appreciate it. You know, we appreciate the people who are there, and the atmosphere is just.
Yeah, and everybody appreciates
like
you
so
guys too,
peaceful
man.
for us. And for me, every time I go to a show, it's like I'm still winning, man. You know,
Definitely.
people can talk shit and hate, but in my own little way, I'm enjoying it, man.
Fuck them.
Okay, so so where can people hear your music?
On SoundCloud for the time being. I do have a music video for Pain on YouTube also. But yeah, mostly just SoundCloud's where all my stuff's at.
Cool. Do you have any like physical CDs or anything?
No, not right now. I did when I started, but I got rid of all those. And now I'm, like I said, until I actually record the EP and then put it out, then I'll have a bunch of physicals and everything.
Cool. Yeah, and I was one of the lucky ones to get one of your t-shirts.
Yeah, one of the original ones. That's the
Be the Prophet
DIY,
t-shirt.
like all that beard.
And I especially like the picture that you used on it.
Yeah, you took it. No, I remember, man, it was sad because like when I made those shirts, I was super like ecstatic about it. I was like, oh man, like I made my own shirts. I'm doing this like the rock and roll way. And then one of my friends was like, hey man, he's like, he messaged me, he's like, yo, dude, you alright? I was like, yeah, why? He's like, hey man, I thought someone was wearing a memorial shirt with your face on. I was like, oh man. I was like, well, fuck. There
Dude,
goes.
I mean, you were living in the moment.
Yeah,
no,
I felt
no regrets.
Yeah, no regrets at all. I felt good about it, but yeah, I'm hoping to have those CDs and everything, new shirts, new merch by February.
Cool. And I also did want to ask one other question related to your music. What are some other old school or classic songs that you'd like to sample? Because I know you did sample one that's like
Oh yeah, use
awesome. Because
the
like during your set, everybody sings it.
yeah the Chai Lights.
Yeah,
Oh
Oh
girl.
Girl.
Yeah, man. I wish I had the rights to
Yeah.
that.
Are there any other ones that you'd like to?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I've given it like thought, and I would love to sample more like oldies songs. I don't know which other ones have like such a powerful hook like that because everyone just loses their minds when that song comes on, which is great for me. I love it. I love seeing everyone sing.
I like to hear you do like "This Is a Man's World."
That'd be cool. Actually, that would be a good one too.
Yeah, dude.
And what is it? There's one right now. Actually, one of my old producers that I worked with, he gave me a song, and I don't know what the sample's from, but it has like that oldies vibe too. It's called like "A Lot of Love." It's like it's gonna take a lot of love to.
Oh
put
yeah, I
things
know what you're
to it.
talking about.
Yeah, I have a beat with that sample on it. I have no idea who.
Yeah, that's a '70s song. That's a good song.
Yeah, I can't wait to put that one out. It's gonna be on the EP.
Nice.
Take these violent and cruel.
Well, have you ever tried driving drunk? It's kind of fun. I guess it's true what they say, like father, like son. And the bottle's my addiction, man, it gets me feeling right. So I'll mix it with some shit just to get me through the night. The wrong part of town, now they're saying to shoot on sight. So I picked up my mic, kiss my grandma goodbye. Always trying to find my father, I found him in the sky. But I still don't understand why he had to go and die. We all make mistakes, man, he wasn't a bad guy. I wanted to say more, but it just wasn't my time. Too bad my old man will never hear me rhyme. You should learn to cherish yours, cause I already lost mine.
Deep within that pain creates another kind of you to get inside your truth.
What kills me the most is the pain I feel inside. Since last time that we spoke, man, I didn't say goodbye. How was I supposed to know I'd never see you again? When they told me you were gone, I thought it was all pretend. I mean, you wouldn't leave, right? You'd always have my back. I was only 12, didn't think you'd get up and pack. I hated you, all the tears that you had caused me. I learned to move on, but your face still haunts me. My grandmother prays for me to have a better life. The house, the kids, and a beautiful wife. I wish I could stop listening to my pride. The 5th of November is the day that you died. I should have said I love you, cause now I regret it. You said follow my dreams, so I better go and get it. And I'm my father's son, best believe I represent it. At your funeral said I'm sorry, man, hope you know I meant it.
Take these violent and cruel.
Put your hands up one more time. I love you, Dad, and I hate that you are gone. I know this song will never right any of my wrongs. It's been so long, I miss you, so does my mom. I wish you were here just so you could sing along.
Deep within that pain creates another kind of you to get inside your truth.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's time for the show off segment.
Show offs.
We fucking love shows. It's like one of our favorite things ever. Okay, so let's talk about where you've played.
I've played. I would like to think everywhere except like Tricky.
You haven't done Tricky Falls?
No, I haven't. I would love to. So Tricky Falls. Let me know. I haven't done Tricky Falls or the Perch. I got wind of this place called the Glass Box. I haven't played there either. I don't know. I've played everywhere, man. I feel like I've played everywhere. I've played at like bars, like for open mics for karaoke people.
Yeah, I remember we saw you at the Rock House Cafe downtown.
Yeah.
Calgary.
Oh, yeah, man. That was my first show.
That was your first
Yeah,
one?
that's where you took
where
that
got
picture. Yeah, that was my very first. It was May 6th. I'll never forget.
Dude, we were there for your first show.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. Hell yeah.
That's like one of our favorite things, man. Like I always say that we love helping out new artists. And you know what? Sometimes it feels like, to me, it feels like, and I hope that locals don't think this, but we help artists when they're brand new the most. And then once we see them doing their thing, then we kind of just like set them free. And
Well, because
And they
it's
get-
real.
they go
Like
crazy,
you know, your Papa Joe and Mama Judy, man.
So-
You guys like take us in, and then you're like, okay, here's what it feels like, and then there you go take off and do your thing. Because
Yeah,
you make
and-
people feel like rock stars, man.
why
Like,
do you see it that way, man? Because I don't want people to think that we're giving up on them. Like, there's a band called Dulce Mana. We helped them a lot at first. And it's been a long time since we've seen them, but just wanted to tell Gabriel and Helen, we love you guys, man. don't ever think we gave up on you guys. We'll catch you guys again.
Much love.
I remember we saw you at the rooftop
Yeah,
last time.
yeah.
It was like
for the-
random.
Yeah, it was really one of the guy there. He was trying to, I guess, bring it back, and he wanted to do something like every Wednesday, like have an open mic and stuff. So it wasn't much of. It wasn't really like a show. It was just open mics where he wanted a bunch of different performers. He wanted to make it like that, but I guess just the location, man. I don't know what it is, but
I know.
it was super hard.
It was bummed out that there weren't more shows there because it's a cool place.
Yeah, it was,
Fun,
dude.
man.
It was fun for me. Like going up there, like it's like I've never been to that part of the West Side
The
before,
view
and
and-
yeah, the view was the best part, man.
Yeah.
And being in there, like you're just chilling. It's like it has like that club vibe, but it's like you could, every venue here has a club vibe. It just depends on what you're playing in it.
Yeah, I know you played at the Rock House recently, and you opened for.
Crazy town.
That was cool. That was a good show, man.
I had a lot of
Fun.
fun doing it, man. Honestly, I love Rock House, man. The sound there and the lights, like they're dope. I always have fun when I play. That's only my second time playing there, actually.
Yeah, you also did Adrian's
The benefit show. Yeah, I would love to play there again. I just don't know if they have like a lot of hip hop shows or something like that. But
Yeah, it's crazy. I think they're trying to do a little more, more variety of music this year. So you never know, man. We'll hit you up for sure if they were to need us.
yeah,
to
no, that
film
Crazy
with
Town
locals
show
and
was
stuff.
cool, though, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that was a fun
putting
show
on
for us
for them.
too, man. It was good to see them. It's funny because like we never saw them when they were like in their heyday, but we got to see them 2017.
Yeah.
It works for us. Okay, so like where are some places you'd like to play? And that could be anywhere, not just here.
Well, first, huge shout out to Love Buzz. That's my like my home away from home, man. Especially when it comes to performing. I love that place, like really hard.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Love Buzz, but I just feel like very cozy there, man.
Yeah, it's like a home, man.
It's
It's
like
like
where all our friends are. It's awesome there. Love it.
and I forgot they used to tell me they had shows in the back patio, and I was like, man, why don't they do that anymore? But then like I guess noise complaints and shit because
Yeah, it's
they're right in the
residential.
hood. But yeah, I love Love Buzz, man. I'll play there like
Me
till
too,
the
man.
day I retire. But I want to play out of town shows. I want to go see what else is out there as far as like how different music scenes might work, and meet new people and get bigger, influence more masses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's always been a dream, is just to be on the road, like on tour, like since I was a kid. I never thought I'd do it as a musician, but now that I'm doing it, it's like, why not?
Cool, and that's a cool little segue into my next question. Talk to us about the Rolling Turd.
The Rolling Turd. Oh man. So I just bought this van, and they call it the Rolling Turd, which is actually a knockoff from that movie RV with Robin Williams. That's what they call this RV, the Rolling Turd. So I was like, and this van is brown, so I'm just gonna call it the Rolling Turd. But no, we changed the name because a lot of my friends are like, oh
R.I.P.
man, you can't call it that. Yeah. So I was like, all right, let me think. So now I'm calling it Martha. And just cause, and so one of my homegirls was like, you should name her Bertha, and I'm like, nah, if I ever get like a tour bus, that'll be Big Bertha. But no, right now it's just Martha. Like, I think it's a pretty name. She's old, she's 94, same age as I am. But no, everything about it, man. It's like when I bought it, it was like a dream come true for me. I was just like, finally, like I'm doing it. I just got everything switched over, to my name. It's insured and all that good stuff. And now I'm actually gonna start building like into a conversion so we can sleep in there comfortably, not like on these bench seats like everyone else tortures themselves with doing. Like I'm
Clear your
6,
back.
yeah, man, I'm 6'4". I can't be laying on like a leather bench. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And yeah, I'm hoping everything goes well with Martha and I.
Nice. So, what are some of your favorite artists that you've opened for?
Oh man,
It could be local or national.
I don't know if this counts, but last year I was featured for Street Fest.
Oh, yeah.
I played with Coyote Blue.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I played a little song with them during their set, and I got to see Papa Roach, which is like my all-time favorite band.
We'll allow it.
So I was like, if that's like something I could say, yeah, definitely opening for them.
Nice.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of local talent here. Opening for Crazy Town was dope. I had a good time doing that too because I got the chance to meet the dudes from Cordova and Amethyst Boulevard, and they're super chill dudes, and they made my experience awesome there. Also, when it comes to locally, man, it's like I love being able to play with other artists that I see like can bring it, like hard. One band in particular that I constantly play with is Pilots of Venus. I love those dudes, man. I have to say, no disrespect to any of my other homies, but they're probably like my favorite local band. Still, ever since I've seen them, they bring it every time. It never feels like it gets stale to me. They always switch it up, and the performance, all of them, Razzo, Joel, Sam, Maribel, like they're just amazing people. And when I played Lowbrow for my first time, that was an experience for me, and I owe that to Jay, Rebel Agnostic, call him Rev from Riboflavin. I got to open for Riboflavin, and I know a lot of people here know who Riboflavin is, but I feel like enough people don't know who they are because they're super undersold, man. They're fucking badass. Like I played with them at Village Vibes last year also, and that was a dope ass experience. But they're just so good, man. Like I opened for them, and that show was just fucking amazing. You know, I don't know what it is. I'm inspired by some of these people. Now, like on Thursday, I get to play with Space Captains, and I've been wanting to play a show with the whole collective for a while, and now that I get to, it's like, you know, it's even more exciting because those dudes are killers, man.
You know, I remember like towards the end of last year, we went to shows at Neon Rose. There were 2 shows going on that night. There was one indoor, and I think it was more like of an acoustic show, and then there was a hip hop show in the backyard. And I know you were playing, and I know that when we got there, you were playing, and it was packed.
Oh yeah, for Apps One, yeah, his EP release, man. Yeah, he's part of Space Captains too. Yeah, that shit was crazy, dude. Because I went first, you know, and I was like,
And you had a good
yeah, I had that bit. I'm sorry, I had that. It was packed, yo. I was like, I've never ever seen it like that.
Yeah, and I remember you got a real good response too from the crowd.
Yeah, man, it was cool because some of my songs have like little chants and throwbacks, and people like lose their minds about it, and it was really dope. I was really, I guess the word would be like blessed, man. Like that was something I never thought that I would, you know, be able to do, and for a crowd of people who have no idea who I am, you know, to thankfully stick around. Not even just like, I mean, in the sense of like hear me and not be like, oh, this guy sucks and walk away. Like, no, they stayed there and they watched it and they loved it, and that was crazy for me. So thanks to Apps for that.
Yeah. So and then, you know, coming off of that question, what are some of the things that you see at shows that make you happy?
Crowd participation is a huge deal for me.
I don't think I've ever seen you perform where the crowd didn't participate.
Yeah, well, not just for me either. I mean, like in general, like for everyone, you know.
Yeah. Even when you're part of the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. I love being a part of crowds that are like live it and get into it and feel it. You know, something else. I don't know. I like. I feel sometimes I like when a band like brings it. You know, you can tell they're bringing like the best of who they are. I know like being on stage is like hella intimidating sometimes. You know, and it's easy to like get kind of like stuck in your head about how you think you may sound and stuff like that. But when bands can push through that and they bring it, like that's something I love to see, man. I just love the energy. When the energy's good, the show's good, and the whole night's good, you know.
Nice. And last question for this segment is name, and not to count anybody out or anything, but name some of the friends of yours who you can count on to be at your shows. You know, I always think it's cool when friends come out and kids are at shows.
Yeah.
And it really sucks when the crowds are really small, but there's always those kids that are
always there. Yeah, definitely. Well, a few of them are like musicians, like the homies from Pilots of Venus. Typically, always at my shows. Ralph the Ruckus, he goes to a couple of my shows too. My homie Prophet, Rebel Agnostic. Some friends that, Mark Dobbs, he goes to almost all of my shows actually. Also, he's another huge supporter.
I seen Chris Rogue get down at your show.
Yeah, man, Chris Rogue, he's that. I'm you know what, man, I miss when Rogue would go to my shows. Rogue's an asshole now. I'm just kidding. He's not an asshole. He's just doing his thing, and I love that guy. But yeah, he used to get down in my shows, man. Like he was my day one homie. I wanted him to come back and sing that shit because he would sing it so loud, and I would love it. Like, and he would always repeat my words back to me, like, and I was like, man, you wrote this shit, didn't you? Yeah. Just some other homies, like my homie Victoria, Skylar, all the homies that just go and they constantly support me, and it's like you said, like sometimes I don't even expect it. Like when I play venues, I'm like, oh man, like no one's gonna be here, like it's not the place for this kind of thing, or someone's got something else going on, but then they show up and it's like these people are constantly there, and I feel like, man, I'm just lucky that they're not tired of hearing the same shit over and over,
Yeah, that's cool, man. Shout out to friends who go to your shows.
All of them, man. I love all of you guys.
So let's talk about your social media. People can find you on Facebook.
They can find me everywhere. Facebook under Phobia the Prophet, Instagram at Phobia the Prophet. I'm even on Twitter at Phobia the Prophet, like DA Prophet, because apparently I was one letter over on the username, so I couldn't put the, so I had to put the, like Phobia the Prophet. So SoundCloud, I'm on YouTube also. I have one video. I'm gonna start working on some new music videos too. Hopefully coming next month. So
Nice.
February's gonna be busy.
So, what's the most reliable way to like reach you for like booking and stuff like that?
Facebook or Instagram, definitely. My Instagram, people constantly message me there. It's because when I get messages on my Facebook on the music page, I don't see it right away. Like I had to go to the page. Like it doesn't tell me.
You need to get
So-
that Pages Manager. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
is
That's
that what it
I
is?
use, Yeah.
Yeah, because people message me directly to my personal Facebook, you know. And so I'm like, I usually answer there. But when it comes to that, like I always tell them, go to my Instagram, message me on Instagram, you know, because that's what people do. People from out of town have been doing that, messaging me there, asking me questions, stuff like that.
Nice. So, so you have been talking to people from out of town about shows and stuff?
Not about shows, just producers. They've been, you
Nice.
know, giving me props on my music, asking me when stuff's gonna come out, or, you know, if I want to work with them and things like that. So.
Nice. Okay, so like, don't forget us when you make it big.
Yeah, I could never. Took my first picture of my first show.
Cool. Okay, so I always like to ask this question of musicians on our vlog, and that's, what advice would you give to a young musician? And let's talk about maybe a young musician who's wanting to do what you're doing.
You know, it's funny that you asked me that because that actually just happened to me last Wednesday. You guys know Hobo, right? One of his friends actually he told me, he was like, hey, this guy's a rapper too, and this and that. He wants to start playing shows. So I was like, okay, man, well, you know, it's cool. Well, you know, here's my name, here's my Instagram. Send me a message, and we can talk and stuff like that. I guess the kid had a couple drinks later, so he comes up to me. I mean, he's not a kid. I guess, you know, he's at the bar, so he has to be like a little older. But he comes up to me and I'm sitting at the table just there. I'm about to start smoking a cigarette. And he comes up to me and starts asking me. He's like, I just want to see, like, sit here and like see what you're about and this and that. And I was like, okay. So we start talking. We start shooting the shit, and he starts, you know, asking me like that, like advice. And if it's him or anyone else, I don't want to say the only advice I can give you, but the realest, the best advice I can give is just do it. You know, just go for it. Put everything you have into it, and don't ever be scared to take the chance at something that you think might fail, because it's only in our failure that we learn how to get better at things, like we talked about earlier. You know, and that's real. For me, it applies to everything. So as far as the music thing goes, it's like, first, make sure if you're gonna do hip hop, you know, get your bars up. You know, get good. Just read and write. You know, never stop writing. That's advice that one of my mentors gave me. Just always write, even if it sounds stupid. You know, because you're never gonna just sit down and write a hit every single time. So sometimes you just gotta sit down and write. And even if it sucks, but you got it out of your head, you know, use different words, vocabularies. It's like training for your brain. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't link up with wrong people, as far as people that are going to waste your time, because that's a hard part too, that I feel like a lot of people fail when it comes to starting off. Like that's exactly what happened to me with my bands, and that's no disrespect to the people that were in my bands. It's just that every time we started something, it never went because conflicts of creativity or what we were trying to be as a unit, instead of just doing it together and vibing with it. So when it came to me being a solo artist, it got hard, because when I started working with different producers, you know, same thing. There's false guarantees. There's, I'm going to do this for you. We're going to do this together. We're going to make this happen. And it's at the point where I'm not just about saying, oh, I'm going to do this and make this happen. No, I'm like, I'm going to do it, you know, and I don't have time to sit around and wait for somebody else to give it to me. So if a young artist wants to come up and do it, my best advice is do it by yourself and do it on your own and do it right, you know. And if you need help from other people, don't be scared to ask for it. Just don't let people waste your time.
Nice. Do you think you were like born with the gift to rap? Because I've said this over and over. I can't rap for shit. So I just don't have. I wasn't born with that gift, and I couldn't learn it. So.
You know what? No, I'm gonna be completely honest. You know, I should probably be like, oh hell yeah, dude, I'm like the best. No, no.
I would probably be the DJ.
Yeah, right. There you go. Killer, man. I know some killer DJs that can scratch and shit, but no, I don't think I was. I don't think I was musically inclined at all when I was born. Man.
It's just like an acquired talent.
Yeah, I've just always been really smart at figuring things out that I really want to do. So when it came to hip hop music, I actually started off with poetry, man. I didn't start off writing hip hop. I was really cheesy, you know.
You're trying to get the ladies, huh?
Yeah, oh hell yeah. No, I was a lonely ass kid, man. You know, like my dad wasn't around, my mom was always at work, you know, like stuff like that. I was always by myself, so I read a lot, and I was always reading like these hopeless ass romantic stories, stuff like that. So I started writing poems for chicks, and I wrote actually like poems for family members, for stuff like that. You know, one time one of my uncles asked me to write him something for his girlfriend. It was cool, and that's when I met my best friend, my homie Penguin. He we hung out, and he is a huge hip hop head. And one day he read some of my stuff, and he asked me, "Have I ever?" He's like, "Have you ever given thought to like putting this to beat?" I was like, "Not really." But then it just kind of happened, and we started freestyling, man. And it was like the craziest thing that ever happened to me, just to be able to do it. And I had no rhythm whatsoever when I first started. That's why I tell like rappers now when they start and they're like, "Oh man, like they suck," and they know they suck. I'm like, "Well, just keep doing it," you know, because it's like you pick up a guitar, you're not gonna be fucking,
Yeah.
you know, Van Halen right away, like, you know. But it's what you get, what you put in. So I've put in countless hours of work, into what I do, and I'm gonna be the best of who I am. I'm not trying to be better than anyone else.
So you're competing with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You should wake up every day and try to better yourself, because there's always gonna be people out there that are better than you. I know people here that are fucking way better than me at what they do. As far as like the lyrical compositions and everything go. But luckily for me, since they're better than me, I can learn from them.
Right. Yeah, you can use that for inspiration.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Always.
Okay, so talk to us about any hidden talent or secret talents or any projects you have away from music that probably be like, what the hell? Really?
Oh man, I'm a really skilled carpenter.
Nice. Well, it's because we want to do like this patio in the backyard.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I've never really given much thought to that. I kind of just do things and hope for the best. I have a really huge like a wanderlust. I love to travel, and I know a lot of people love to travel, but I find this genuine happiness and experience from just experiencing things in the world. I don't know if it's so much as like a quality or something. Like if I could backflip, that'd be cool. I always want to learn how to do a backflip. I think that would be a dope ass skill. But now I've just always had this thing where I want to travel and see the world, because once you start seeing different parts of the world, it's like, man, there's so much going on out there that you don't know about.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't really answer your question, but I don't think I have anything. I don't have any cool hidden talents or anything like that.
Oh, you never know. Maybe you haven't found it yet.
That's
maybe it's
true.
still hidden.
Or maybe, yeah, I was like, or maybe I just don't know. Maybe I just don't know what it is.
It'll come out.
I can. I'm really good at math.
Nice. Yeah. I suck at math. So
Yeah, I was like, that's
a very
man,
valuable one.
I sound fucking lame. Let's.
Okay, I want to ask you a serious question.
Okay.
And I know this affects a lot of people, man, especially kids. How lame is social media bullying? I know bullying in general, but I want to touch on social media bullying.
It's the worst, man. It's that shit's bad. Like it's fucked up. Like I can't. I was a victim of that too. Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, I'm going to be 50 years old this year, and I'm a victim of it like today.
It's like, why, dude?
And
like,
all we ever do is try to help people, man. And it's so crazy. I don't understand it.
But you know what these people are, man? They're just fucking keyboard warriors, man. Like that's all they do. They go online, and because social media just gave it an outlet for people to like talk shit to you, but they can't say it to your face. And that part annoys the fuck out of me. Like that's what really gets on my nuts. Is like, I don't condone violence anymore. I'm all about like my live, love, inspire, man. That's what I want to be about. But sometimes, you have to remind people who you are. And I'm not saying go out and bully people, but not stick up for yourself, man. And one thing my dad always taught me was that. He was like, don't let anybody try to get in your face and tell you who you are, And the problem with the social media bullying is that people do it and they rally other people to support it. And it's like, for what, dude? What are you gaining from that? What? Okay, so you're fucking famous on the internet. Now what? Now what are you gonna do once you get off that fucking computer screen? Like, then you're just this person that made someone else feel like shit about themselves, and it could be someone that has no one to reach out to either. You're just you're making people victims for no reason. Yeah. And that's also another thing that's led people to take their own lives. And it's like, for what, man?
He's like, damn, I almost got away. There he is. Make some noise for me, man, one time. Damn, like that? Haters.
Check.
Those of you that don't know,
Yeah.
This man is also the front man for fucking Butt Runners. There it is.
The butt munchers.
The nut suckers, what?
True.
All right, y'all, this one's called Perfect World. Those of you that have heard it before, it's on a new beat tonight. And also made by my man right there, Marvin. Make some noise for that guy one time. Do me one favor real quick. I saved the best for last, no offense. Make some noise for Rancor Kills holding me down these tables, yeah? You're gonna see this man's beautiful face a lot tonight. Rancor, let's get it, man. Yeah. You ever think about it before? It's like this. Man, they asked me for a perfect world if it really exists. I put my head down, close my eyes, and try to picture it. If there's really a perfect world, what does it come with? I think it will look something like this. Not nobody would be hungry eating steak, chicken, and fish without killing all the animals so vegans can have their wish. And nobody could complain, nobody could bitch. We can actually hold the conversation without an end to a fist. No jealousy, people actually appreciate your kicks. When they open up the list, make sure they're perfect parents for their own kids. Speaking of which, every chick you want would be taking every dick from every homie in your clique. For my ladies, a dude that can actually find your clique would stop asking to send them pictures of your tits. For all my lovers, finding love will finally stick. Finding your opposite and hoping things will finally click. Cause we're all looking for love, right? Fuck that. Fuck love. You heard it here first from this guy. So perfect world is what it sounds like to me. Let me repeat it one more time for y'all. Yeah, man, they asked me for a perfect world if it really exists. I put my head down, close my eyes, I try to picture it. If there's really a perfect world, what does it come with? I think it would look something like this. Well, the sunshine doesn't burn your skin and eyelids. Moonlight isn't just about goons, venom, and pirates. Waters aren't shark infested, so I can actually dive in. Everybody trusts each other, so they can do it like I did. Shopping groceries for cheap, man, maybe even priceless. No religious beef, we just all believe in science. Say whatever you want, there's no need to stay silent. And in the bedroom's the only place where things won't get violent. Rough sex, and the codes when it's quiet. Food that doesn't get you fat, even if you fry it. Stay in shape all the time, there's no need to diet. Wouldn't have to pay for drugs, they would just supply it. Drugs are expensive, man. Y'all remember $20 a G? Yeah, fuck all that, right, Ruckus? I'm gonna repeat this one more time for y'all. Check it out. Tell them folks. Well, they asked me for a perfect world if it really exists. I put my head down, close my eyes, I try to picture it. If there's really a perfect world, what does it come with? Think it would look something like this. Tell them, Ruckus. Yo, presume living, but this can't be his life. I think about the future every time I breathe on the mic. Why when I feel alone? You know I'm speaking to high. There's people out here trying to keep you from speaking your mind. Yeah. But I got the feeling I'm stuck in the middle between heaven and hell, trying to find a way out. Yeah. The voice inside my head tells me to kill myself, and I decide to take it up on its advice. Sipping my whiskey, pumping my menthol, rolling up a joint with high hopes of getting lost, never coming back down to earth. We say above the clouds. They used to hate the style, but they love the sound now, and I'm bugging out how we came on the scene and crushed the mic the first time around, hanging in the cloud of smoke with my band in the back, playing my jam, cigarette and beer in my hand. They asked me for a perfect world if it really exists. I put my head down, close my eyes, and try to picture it. If there's really a perfect world, what does it come with? I think it will look something like this. Yeah, I need you to repeat after me. It's gonna go very simply like this. Two things, go perfect world, say perfect world, go perfect world, perfect world, say perfect world, perfect world, say perfect world, perfect world, perfect world, perfect world. They asked me for a perfect world, if it really exists. Put my head down, close my eyes, and try to picture it. If there's really a perfect world, what does it come with? I think it would look something like this. Thank you. This.
Okay, so now it's time for the...
It's Phobia and Papa Joe. Don't dare forget it. It's time for that rapid fire segment.
Ooh, fire. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 questions off the top of my head.
Let's get it.
And you got to answer...
Like Slim
like
Shady.
that. You got this much time.
Okay.
Okay, so your biggest phobia?
Sharks.
Your favorite prophet?
Me.
Who would you want? Pick 3 people who would you would want in a cipher with you.
Ralph the Ruckus, Tezu, and Rebel Agnostic.
Damn. Okay, your favorite topic when freestyling?
Shit, my life.
Okay, and what is your favorite breed of dogs?
That's not fair. Corgis, man.
Yeah, everybody loves corgis.
Corgis
man.
are fucking adorable. Shar-Peis were my favorite for a really long time because they're just these big, wrinkly fucks.
Don't you have a tattoo of a dog?
Yeah, my dog. She's a Chiweenie. She's on my leg. Yeah.
we have a Chiweenie too.
Yeah, they're cute. They're ugly, cute dogs, so it's weird.
Yeah.
They're like sausages.
But ours looks more like a Chihuahua. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My favorite dog breed is Chihuahua.
Chihuahuas, the little chihuahuas.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to you guys, Papa Joe, Mama Judy, the Metal Shop Vlogs. Thank you for having me here. It's been great. Shout out to my people at Love Buzz. Shout out to all the homies that still support what I do. Shout out to Sean and Megan, of course. There's a couple more that I'm losing my train of thought. Shout out to my homie Marvin, making me these beats. Shout out to Virgo Season, making me some more beats. Huge shout out to Ralph the Ruckus, Rancor Kills. Looking forward to this tour. About to hit together, guys. Shout out to El Paso. Much love from my 915 people. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think you covered it, man. So
Cool.
there's nothing else that you want to throw out there? I think you covered everything, man.
Keep your eyes peeled because you don't know what I'm going to do next. That's pretty much it.
That's cool. Phobia the Prophet. So we want to go ahead and thank you, man. Thank you for letting us feature you on our small project, the Metal Shop Vlogs.
Absolutely.
2 years plus strong. And I can't forget to give a shout out to our sponsors, Alive Audio, Alex and Nicole Vargas, who were very generous with us. I mean, they're a very big part of the music scene here. Also, Alex is they're both in charge of 420 Fest coming up. It's gonna be big this year. They were generous. They helped us out with our audio equipment, and we just can't thank them enough, man, because they're a big part of why our vlog project has improved.
Well, shout out to them.
Big shout out to them, man. And also, we're always on the lookout for additional sponsors. If you guys want to sponsor us, hit us up. Whatever you're selling, we can have it here for
Sponsor
sure.
us.
Last week
Sol,
we talked about maybe a pizza place. Hey, if you own a burger place,
a pizza joint.
put those puppies right here and we'll munch on them.
Right.
If your place sells nachos, we like nachos. Tacos. If you guys have a taco truck and you want us to put your logo on our video, our vlogs have over 46,000 views on YouTube.
Damn.
So that's a pretty big, good sized audience.
Should get chihuahuitas, man.
We have over 200 subscribers, and a lot of people love the musicians in the local music scene, and so that you would be helping them out too. You'd be helping us out too. So yeah, let us eat your tacos here, man. Hit us up for sure. You can contact us on the Metal Shop Vlogs Facebook page or the Metal Shop Vlogs at yahoo.com. So yeah, hit us up, man. And thanks once again to Phobia the Prophet. And we'll see you guys next week on the Metal Shop Vlogs.
Cheers to y'all.
Peace.